Begin.
You ready? Okay. Today we have Nana. We call him Balagoon and the Chief. Call Kennedy on Facebook. We're going to be asking a couple of questions on what he's doing in Ghana. What was his vision here when you first came to Ghana, and what made you want to come back and also make this your home?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody who's watching this. What brought me to Ghana in 1998? Queen Mother Maya Monet Mbaki was being installed in a town called Asiaku. And at that time, I had a weekly TV program in Wilmington, Delaware called Black Information Television. So I came over here as a correspondent for Black Information Television to tape her installment. This was in 1998. Now, while I was here, one of the Santi chiefs asked me if I would consider being a, what's called an Nkwisighini in a town called Pidi in the Santi region. And so I said, yeah, sure, why not? And that was in 1999 when I was installed as Nkwisighini and Treaty Asante Aking North. Now, while I'm on the subject of Nkwisighini, I do want to make a point. I believe you should give people their flowers while they're alive to smell the flowers. And I would just like to make a point that had it not been for Minister Louis Farrakhan, there would not be an Nkwisa stool. I'm an Nkwisighini. And the way that stool came about, in 1995, Minister Farrakhan called 1 million black men to Washington, D.C. It's called the Million Man March, October 16, 1995. You can Google it. I call it an officers' meeting, but whatever you want to call it, he called 1 million of us to Washington, D.C. to atone and to do some other things as far as making sure that we will protect the women and children in the hoods after we atone. And he also called it to stop the Crips and the Bloods from trying to kill each other. I call them the blue kill team and the red kill team. And all that happened in 1995. Now, one of the people who was watching that gathering was the previous Asante Hini, King Okokowere. He's passed away now, but he was watching that gathering in Washington, D.C., and it inspired him, the Spirit of Atonement inspired him to create a stool. It's called the Nkwisa stool. And I'm in Nkwisighini now. Nkwisighini's, these are people who they prefer black Americans to come to Ghana and serve as a developmental chief. The stool is about developmental chief. And it's my understanding that the International Representative of the Nation of Islam have just installed as an Nkwisighini. Yes, Akbar, yeah. He was just installed as an Nkwisighini. But that's the same stool that I hold, and that's the stool that Minister Farrakhan inspired the king of the Ashanti tribe to create by him calling together the Million Man March. So I just wanted to make that a point, because a lot of times people don't start giving people credit for things that they did until after they did. And I believe you should give a person their flowers while they're living where they can smell it. If it had not been for Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I would not be an Nkwisighini. And there would not be any Nkwisighini's, because he is the person who inspired the Asante King, King of Okokowere, in 1995 to create the Nkwisa stool.
Oh, okay. So it all the brainstorm all came out of the Million Man March by Minister Louis Farrakhan and took it overseas. We took it overseas and started being productive. Is that right?
Yes, the inspiration for this stool that I occupy, the Nkwisa stool, came from when Minister Louis Farrakhan called 1 million people together. I call it an officers' meeting. Other people call it a Million Man March. And the reason I call it an officers' meeting is because every individual, I was there that day, and every other individual there that day could name 100 people who they know didn't make it. whether they was in prison,
Wow. Okay.
whether they were strung out on drugs, whether they just didn't get up on time to catch the bus, whether they was at work that day. So everybody there that day was an officer. And after the Million Man March, I started the practice of identifying brothers as general this, general that. I call Omar in Wilmington, Delaware, General Omar.
Okay.
The twin boats, I call them general.
Namdi.
Yeah, the general. Yeah, I put a general in front of their name.
Okay.
Because for one thing, we need to remember that we're still in a military situation. You know, in fact, we are prisoners of war. And when you're talking about prisoners of war, you're talking about military.
Right.
You know, when our ancestors passed through what they called the doors of no return, in the slave dungeons of west coast of Africa, there were no civilians who passed through the door of no return. Everybody who passed through the door of no return was a prisoner of war. And if you're a prisoner of war, that means you're military. You know,
right.
When one army captures another army, then they're called prisoners of war. Now, once we start seeing ourselves in the true light, then things will open up to us where we was wondering, why did this happen or why did that happen? People need to understand that everything that happens in the U.S. Is by design.
Okay.
And it's designed to keep us at the bottom of a racist economic class system.
Yes.
So that our dollars go up.
Yes.
And that's the way it is over there. People need to realize that, you know, if they want to get out of the situation they're in, you have to figure out where you're at. In my book, The African BOW in America, the first sentence says, how are you going to get to point B if you don't have sense enough to know where point A is? You got to know where you're at before you can figure out where you want to go. You got to understand where you're at. And I call the U.S. the quote-unquote POW camp for Africans that you call quote-unquote America. Because there is no country on this planet named America. You know, you Google countries and look under A, you will not see a country named America.
Wow, that's amazing.
You know, it's a figment of people's imagination. And it's just like if we're sitting in Ghana right now. Let's say Ghana was to say, well, we're going to decide to call ourselves African and spread the lie that you got to be born in Ghana to be an African. You know, that's the arrogance of that. You know.
Right, okay, I see.
But the same thing is about the North American country between Canada and Mexico.
Right.
That particular North American country that's called quote-unquote America, you know, it says that you got to be born in that country to be an American.
Right.
Well, guess what? The people in South America are Americans.
Okay.
People in Cuba and the other islands, Organization of American States is called. They just had a meeting in California a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
All of them are Americans. If you're born in Canada, you're an American. You're a North American, to be specific.
Okay.
If you're born in Mexico, you're an American. A North American, to be specific. But when you're dealing with people who are pathological liars, you know, they lie about their own name, you know, that's a mental illness.
That's a mental illness.
And also I say in my book that racism is a mental illness.
Yes.
That impairs one's ability to function fairly. Now, do you think it would be fair for Ghana to claim that it now wants to call itself Africa, so it's going to tell people you got to be born in Ghana before you can call yourself an African?
Okay.
You think that would be fair?
No.
It's not fair.
I get it.
And it's not fair that the people in the North American country between Canada and Mexico, whatever its real name is.
Right.
Because we can even go even deeper than that. But the point is, it's not fair for them to be telling people in Mexico, Chile, Brazil, Canada, and the other countries, Cuba, the Bahamas, that they're not Americans because they weren't born in that particular country. You know? If they were born in North America, South America, or any of the countries that make up the OAS, it's called the Organization of American States. Look it up, Google it.
Okay.
If they were born in that country, they are all Americans. Just like if somebody's born in Kenya, Botswana, Uganda, they're Africans. Just like the people in Ghana are Africans. They're all Africans. You know.
Right, I got it.
It just takes a people with a sick mind,
you
know, to think that they can steal other people's identity like that. Now, and the reason I was saying it goes any deeper than that, even deeper than that, is because all of the American countries, in North America, in South America, and the OAS, all of those American countries, states are united under a form of government. So all of them are technically, each country is a United States of America, in other words.
Okay.
Canada is a United States of America because the states are united under an American country. Cuba is a United States of America because the states of Cuba are all united under a form of government.
A form of government. Okay.
So the United States of America is not a name, it's a description. It's saying that the states are united in this American country.
Okay.
And the states are united in all of the American countries. So actually, the country between Canada and Mexico on the North American continent of America, which is the name of the continent, North America, don't have no name. It does not have a specific name.
Well, the whole thing is that they came, they didn't want to stay in England and they broke off and they came with Columbus. And they came and they discovered the Indians were already here.
Yeah.
And they discovered it, from my understanding, they called it America, Christopher Columbus. They left England. They didn't want to go by the rules and regulations. And they came here to America. All right?
Yeah.